This book was not submitted through the DWA review form. This was actually a recommendation from a fellow indie author. Now, Yolanda, who recommended it to me, is a horror author herself, and I have several of her books behind me. And I really enjoyed her Suffer the Darkness book when I read it last year. So I basically took any recommendation from her as a given that it was going to be a good read. And I was not wrong. Reap So follows Lucky, who immediately wakes up somewhere that is familiar to her, but both familiar and alien. Like the hallways are familiar, the color scheme on the walls is familiar, but everything feels off. She doesn't know how she got to this place. She doesn't know who put her there. She doesn't know why she's there. And it's even stranger because it's as if the place is trying to become more familiar to her. It's altering to try and provide familiarity, but also a haunting terror within her. All of the doors have no handles, so it's targeting where she needs to go. The rooms shift around to places that she knows, like a barn or a bedroom or a kitchen. And she knows the place, and yet it's off. Something's off. It's not right. There are faceless people clad in blue clothing who have this distinctive hum, the sound that they emit before they disappear. And she doesn't know who they are or what they want. They seem to want her, but she doesn't understand why. But she's determined, whatever the situation, to escape from this place and get back to her family and the guy that she loves. But then her family begin to show up in the place where she is, but they're not her family. They are nightmarish versions of her family members, her dad, her mother, the guy she loves, her brother. All these people start to show up in horrific ways. And it gradually leads her down a dark and twisted path, which ends in her facing a terrible truth, which then relates back to the title of the story. As I say, this was a fantastic recommendation from Yolanda. I thank you for that. The nightmarish vision within this novella was vivid and all-consuming, and it felt like the epitome of terror. You know, when you've done something unforgivable and the guilt eats away at you and eats away at you, and you can't break free of that nightmare. Simply fantastic. It really was. And the ending was devastating, really. I mean, you see what Lucky goes through in the story and the events that have led to that. And then at the end, you can't help but feel sorry for her, despite the fact that she was the cause of all of this. So yeah, if you haven't read it, go check it out. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was a brilliant quick horror read, very enjoyable, and I now plan to check out other things by the same author. So I advise you do the same. As always, if you want your book to be reviewed in this series, go to my bio, click the form, fill it in, and we might see your book in the next one.